Hello. Welcome to episode 2 of our preparation for the Feast of St. Joseph on March 19th. As promised, this is the second video you've received. This is March 10th. Hopefully, yesterday on March 9th, you received the novena prayers and the instructions for how to pray them. Today is the day for the first day of the novena. Today we'll be cooking appetizers or preparing them with Father Nico. Now, because it's the season of Lent, it's important that we use fish in our ingredient list. And I sent Father Nico out to go fishing today. I don't know, I think I hear him coming. Oh, you did a good job. Great. Oh, look, there's some crab. That'll be helpful for us. If we can get that out. Okay, there's, oh, these little buggers are tough. There you go. And there's another one. And there you go. And it seems, geez, this is a live one. A little guppy fish. Jeez. And there we go. There we go. Okay. So through the magic of the screen, we'll take them away and deal with them later. Come right back, huh? Over here. Out, 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 out. There you go. All right. Well, welcome, Chef.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Do you have your special hat?
I do.
Please put it on. I'd like to tell you all about this. You've all seen chef's hats. There's many varieties of them. This is a T-O-Q-U-E, pronounced toque, and it goes back to the Arabic days of the Byzantine Empire when chefs wore similar hats, and it was taken up by French culinary chefs in the 19th century. So that's as much as I know about that hat, except that legend has it that the number of pleats in a chef's hat, a toque like this, represents how many ways they can cook an egg. The top chefs, 100 ways, 100 pleats. So there's a piece of useless information. However, hopefully it's just interesting for you. Today we're going to make 2 appetizers. First, we're going to make something that has these ingredients in it. It's called an angelic appetizer and will be a stuffed mushroom with crab meat. So we have our crab meat. Do you want to bring it over here? All right, I'll show you the list of ingredients, which I have right here. We have our crab meat, which you can get in a pound can or half a pound can, or if you go to the fish department in your store, you might just be able to buy an amount that you need. So we have lump crab meat, that's the best type. It's a little expensive, but it's Feast of St. Joseph. We also have mushroom caps. This is a gigantic one, as you can see. They have mediums. I would recommend not getting the baby mushrooms because you'll have to start now and you cook them every day for 9 days. They take forever. Also, we have Italian type breadcrumbs. We have parsley. If you don't have fresh, you could always use dry. And we have some grated Parmesan cheese for you, okay? So these are the ingredients, and also 1 egg. Now, as we do this cooking show, I'm not much for measurements, so if you look at what we're doing and get close, you'll be ahead. I'll try to give some instructions in writing later, but that's not really how I roll. So you have your can of lump crab meat. We open it with the can opener. And don't try to pry it open with your finger. Use this, and you can see you have the little crab meats in. Now I'm just going to make one mushroom cap so you kind of multiply the recipe according to how many people you have. So you see I'm pushing out the crab meat into this little dish. There you go. And we put this aside. And then you have the mushroom cap. Now, you know the top of a mushroom. They say not to wash mushrooms because you get water in them and they get soggy. I wash them. Nothing's going to happen to them. So there's a piece in here that's a fiber. And Father Nico, who is going to do this now, is going to take this other bowl. And this is a grapefruit spoon, which has a little serrated edge on it, which is usually the spoon I grab every time I reach for one and try to eat my yogurt with it and cut my mouth. Why it's always at the top, I do not know. However, it seems that way. So what you would do is put the spoon in and gently scrape around to get rid of the fiber around the root of the mushroom cap, and then you end up with what I'll show you at the end. So you want to try that? Gently, yeah. There you go. Perfect. Now you get the idea. Okay. And here's how you end up with this. You end up with taking a small knife and cutting off the little nub of the mushroom. I guess it's the stem, you would call it. And then you have a perfectly made shell, which can have your crab meat stuffing in it. Okay, so everybody see that? Very good. All right, so you have your crab meat. You can put your egg in there. Okay, and then you would have an opportunity to put some grated cheese. Now, the best way to do this is to have a chunk of Parmesan or your favorite hard cheese and pick one of these that you like, maybe this side. And Father Nico, do you want to, you know how to do that? Good, that's great. And if you stop, you see that at the bottom you get a little grated cheese, and that's the best way to do it. So thank you, could take that with you. You'll end up with something like this, okay? Now, if you don't want to go through all that, do what most people do. Just buy a can or a jar and you have it ready made, all right? So here we have our crab meat. We have some breadcrumbs already prepared. Of course, you could make your own, but you're on your own doing that. Okay, so here's a little crab meat. I'm going to mix the egg in with it. Great. Probably we could use some more crab meat because I didn't use enough. You want to get some?
Don't use your finger.
Don't use your finger, yeah. There, we'll make enough for 2 caps. How's that? There you are. So that was about half a pound of crab meat. There's a measurement for you. And now we're going to add, that was 1 egg, we're going to add, this is a soup spoon and 2 soup spoons. And this is a soup spoon of cheese and a soup spoon, that's 2, and that's 3, okay? And we will stir this up a little bit, see how dry or wet it is. Looks pretty good to me. And then we're going to chop a little parsley. And Father Nico will be happy to do that. It's going to take a bunch and cut some off the edges there. Cut a piece off like this. Okay, there you go. And then you can put this aside. And then you can do this. You can rock your knife. Rock my knife. There you go. And you can go like this. See how I'm sawing? Right. And you want to keep your fingers like this. See? This way, if the knife comes down, it's not on you. Good. Now the easiest way to do it is just turn the board and do it again.
Okay. Like this?
Yeah. Keep
rocking.
Yep. Just move backwards. The point is not to cut your own hand.
Just the parsley.
Just the parsley, right. And you should always be, if you're working with a partner, kind to them when they're holding a knife. All right, now we have our parsley. You can gather it with the best tool in the kitchen, which is both of your hands, and this can be removed. Thank you. Now we're just stirring this together and mixing it. There we are. Okay. Now I think this could use, there's a lemon over there. Would you get that, please? Bring the board back without the parsley on it and the knife. So see the consistency of this? I think it could get a little bit more moisture. So we'll cut a lemon. And when you cut your lemon, push out the seeds. There you go. And the best thing to do is, hold on, wash your hands once in a while. Okay. And then you squeeze your lemon, and what you do is make a little basin with your hands, and you go like this, and let it come between your fingers, but don't let the pits out, which are now trapped there, and you do it very delicately, and you get a nice amount of liquid, which is just about enough. Oh yes, that moistened it up very nice. Okay, so now you have your mushroom cap, as you remember, and you gather up with a nice big spoon some of your mixture, and you put it in the mushroom cap. There you go. Now, if you could just go and get me a little stick of butter. Great. Good. We could have saved you some time had we done more preparation, but this is the reality of everybody's kitchen.
Right. No.
I mean, you don't think ahead for everything. So then you make 3 little slices of butter, which I think maybe just enough, and there you go. All right? So they're going to be very happy there. And then at the end, you just take a little of that cheese again and just put that on top. And then you get yourself a nice cookie sheet, cover it with aluminum foil, or if you're watching in Great Britain, aluminium foil. Don't want to just, and you lift your little mushroom cap. Of course, you would have more if you have other people with you. And then you put it in the oven at 400 for 10 minutes and then look at it. Now, if you're wearing glasses and you open the oven, you're going to steam up. So take them off. No. Right. Perfect. There you go. By the way, people, there's something in this oven over there that you're probably wondering what it is, and that's a secret that I'm going to tell you at the end of today's program. So the time is up. We've checked it. It's nice and brown, and taking that out. There you go. All right, we'll come over to our plating dish. You see, I've had some cocktail sauce. It could be tartar sauce if you wish, or not at all. There's a couple of lemon wedges, a little parsley, and I'm going to scoop it up carefully so as not to break it. And it just takes a little patience, which of course I have so much of. And there we go. All right? And that's a fine appetizer. First course, lovely. Hi, welcome back. Now we're going to make a sinless salad. So what you'll need is your cutting board and your knife again. As we begin, I'll tell you what our list of ingredients is today for this salad. First of all, extra virgin olive oil, any brand will do. Red wine vinegar, the cheaper the better. I find that the lower cost seems to have more of a, and that's what you want, that nice sharp bite in your vinegar. Also, we have basil. Now, of course, you could use dried basil, but these little packages are very nice. You can cut it fresh, and I think for a dish like this, it's better to have the fresh basil if you can find it. Also, we have this, which is from another planet, basically. Don't be frightened. It doesn't. No, it's really fine. It's called a word in English, fennel. Okay, we used to call it fenugreek, but it's called fennel. It's a bulb, obviously, and we can talk more about it when we cut it up, but this part is great for throwing into a soup. We're going to use the lower half of the fennel bulb. Also, we have this is a star fruit. It's rare to find it. It's shaped like a star. It tastes something like an apple. It gives a bit of crunch to this. If you can't find it, you might wish to put in a few pieces of apple instead of your star fruit, and you could do that with a Granny Smith apple or some type of a tart apple. We also have this, which is endive, E-N-D-I-V-E. Perhaps it's pronounced differently. This is what I call it, and that's how it's spelt. That's as far as my knowledge goes. I think it comes from Belgium, what country? Belgian endive, perhaps, but if not, it comes from somewhere. This is radicchio, I know that. We also have here these little peppers. Now, we're going to be cooking with them later. They come in 3 colors, usually in a bag. They're cute. If you didn't find the babies, you can get regular sized red, orange, or yellow pepper and cut them up. But I like these little ones if you can find them. Here's the thing with the green ones. I find them to be a little harsh. They are less expensive, but when you eat a green pepper, it's a good friend. It stays with you for a long time. So these are much milder, especially uncooked. We also have a little salt, just regular iodized salt. If you want to use a specialty salt, knock yourself out. I just like the regular, girl with the umbrella salt. And otherwise you can have pepper if you like to grind it yourself. But what I've been using instead of pepper recently and find to be very nice is hot paprika. Just a little bit gives the pepper taste and a little something extra. So you might want to invest in it. It comes in this little tin. It'll keep forever. And if you open it carefully and decide not to use it, you can re-gift it at some point. So let's start with what is most difficult first, which is the fennel bulb. All right, so you know it has this nice top. As I said, you can throw the whole thing. You would just chop down on it. And so you see what I'm doing? I'm standing it up. You got a half of one. Stand it on, it's there. If it's more stable, like this. If it's not stable enough, cut a little bit off. This way you got a good grip on it, okay? Lay it on its back, go down and make a V, and you take out the core in a way, all right? So take the half of a half, and then you want to lie it down on its side, and again, you just rock your knife, and if a piece falls off like this, and just cut it like that, and you go like that. Okay, now just turn the whole bunch around and go the other way. You want these to be bite-sized so you could pick them up, but not too big so that you can't get them on a spoon or on your fork. Okay, so that's about the size of them, like that. All right, so we'll take this, we'll put it in our bowl, and I'll continue to chop and be back in a second. Okay, so we finished cutting up the fennel, and now we're going to turn our attention to radicchio. I told you that it's a little bitter tasting, but very refreshing. So we will see that it has a flat bottom to it, and we will cut it in half, which makes it easier to work with. Again, like the fennel, it has this V root at the bottom, so you want to lay it on its back, cut out the V, and the rest of it will be edible, okay? So we'll turn it flat side down. Let's move this out of the way so you can see, and we will, again, rock our knife. Now, this is a little challenging I should tell you that I did, when you get to the end, flip it over so you don't cut yourself and do that. Now, if you just turn the board, it takes all the thinking out of it, which I prefer. And you can start cutting vertically, again, in bite-sized pieces, depending on the size of your mouth. For some, you can leave it as it is. And here, we put the radicchio in, and there you go. Now we have the Belgian endive, again, a flat bottom. The best way to do this is to cut it in half. Just watch your fingers. Chop off the bottom, chop off the bottom, and then again, cut it lengthwise. And that's about all it takes, and I would say 4 slices, and you want it to be not too small that you don't get a little bite to it. All right, so in half, make that 3, and there you go. This obviously is not a precise art. It's not French cooking. This is peasant cooking because I am. Okay, we did this.
Lemon.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you one of these baby peppers. So you can take off the little top, and inside are little, what do you call them? Yeah. Seeds. So you take your little paring knife and you go in a circle like that, knock out the seeds, and then you can put your finger in there and finish the work. And there you have a nice little pocket. Now, something that you can do with this, besides put it in here, is if you have a little one of these, they're very nice hors d'oeuvres. You could stuff them with crab meat. You don't have to cook it. It can be, like that with some lemon juice. You could put tuna fish in it. You could stick this with a little salami with a piece of mozzarella or Parmesan cheese. You could stuff this basically with anything, and it's a nice little hors d'oeuvre. It's the right size. You can pick it up. You can put a toothpick in it. It just has endless possibilities. Plus, it's kind of attractive. All right. So we're going to take this, move your seeds away, just cut it in half, and then half, and then half, and you end up with something like this, and just keep doing it. All right. So there you go. We'll do one more. We'll do a red one. Reach in there, get out your seeds. There you go. And then in half, and then slices, and we'll continue. Now, what else do we have to do? We have our little tomato. Now, I know it's hard to get them in the winter. This is a Kamado tomato, C-M-A-T-O, I believe, Kamado tomato. And I find them to be very nice. Again, they're not cheap, but then this is a special meal. So cut your tomato in half. You can lay it down on its front, cut it again, cut it again and again, and then scoop it up and take the juice and the seeds with you and just dump it in there. Or you can cut it round side up, and then you don't lose any juice, which is probably what I should have done in the first place. But do it any way you want. And it's best if you're not being watched so that no one can laugh at you. All right, so there we have it. Now, I'm going to, before we finish this, keep cutting up a few peppers. So while I get the basil ready, I think we'll tune out for a second and then come right back. Back to basics with basil. So I've pulled off some basil leaves, which is very easy to do. You just pinch a leaf off with your finger, and then you can stack the leaves on top of each other like this, making a little pile of leaves. And if there's a tiny bit of a stem, it's okay. It's fiber. It's very good for you and saves a lot of chopping. So here you have a nice little stack of leaves, and then you roll them up like you would a cigar, see? And you can chop it like that. There's a name for this. I think it's chiffonade or something like that. I should look it up, but I'm not going to. That's how you get the basil in there. All right, so now we're going to do our dressing. Now let me just show you what this looks like before you dress it. And here you are. See, it's very colorful, very full. This would be enough easily for 4 people or 2 people that were very hungry, okay? There you go. And now let me show you the dressing. Now, oh wait, the star fruit.
Right.
Well, actually, we should wait for this to the end, because if you don't serve, this is not bad if it sits for some time in the refrigerator maybe 10 minutes or something. So if you wanted to make it before you actually serve it and put the dressing on it, it's nice when it absorbs a little, but you don't want to leave it too long, otherwise it wilts. Now, it's excellent the next day if you can't finish it. Say this was too much for you. If you had any kind of fried or baked food, anything with a breadcrumb crust, you could take this and put it on top of your chicken or your fish, and even though it's slightly wilted, it has the oil and vinegar taste. You could squeeze a little fresh lemon on it to wake it up. It's excellent on fried or baked food that have, as I said, the breadcrumbs. It's just a very nice topping for it, really. It freshens the whole thing, so you might enjoy that. Now, I'm famous among a small group of regulars for my oil and vinegar vinaigrette, which is very, very simple. And I don't really measure it, but I will try to do this for you by eye. So I am putting in the wrong side because it's metric. And this is metric. No, this is both in right numbers. It is that I cannot see them. Okay, there we go. So let's put in 1/3 cup of oil. I think that would be good. And probably, that's a lot of dressing. And the other 1/3 of the vinegar. And we will put in, this is a teaspoon, 1. You probably should stop there. I like it with a little kick. And then you could put pepper to taste, or else you can put a shake of that, which is the hot paprika that I told you about. And then if you get a fork, you can stir it up. Okay, and then take your half a lemon and give that a squeeze in there. Okay, that's good. And we'll do that. Now the basil, of course, is already in there. And I like to put some dried thyme in. Nico, could you get me some? It's in the cabinet. Yeah, thyme. Now to tell you the truth, the best way to do this is to put it in a bottle. Yeah, and again, I guess I would say that the spoon is too big for the jar. So again, that's good. Now these can handle the strength of all of these ingredients because they have powerful flavors in themselves. So we'll take this, we'll pour it in here. I would have done it right in the jar by eye, but I try to be good for you. All right, we'll try that, and we'll see. And then you can shake it up. Now, if you like garlic, you might put a piece of crushed garlic, fresh garlic in here. I don't like it, but if you do, you could put it in. And you could even leave this out for a few hours. It only gets better because it absorbs all its flavors. But we're doing this at the last minute, and I will taste this to see. You have to shake it the minute you taste it. Okay. Nico likes this dressing. Father Jared liked the dressing. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, and you would pour it on your, and it's tasty too. No, actually it is good. So our salad is complete, and here's what it looks like, as you can see, okay? And here's the dressing in the jar, so that's good. So we're going to not put them together because we're not ready to eat this. I'll just make one plate, but normally you could just dump the whole jar right in here. I mean, carefully pour it into your salad. And then you can take 2 nice spoons and toss it like this. Because if you use a fork, the fork gets stuck in one of the pieces and then you're a mess. But it seems you pull from the bottom and you lift, and obviously that's pretty simple. Another way you can do it if you want to save calories is to dump it in a plastic bag and shake it up. That can work too. I mean, carefully place it in a bag and gently toss it. There you are. So let's just do 1 serving here. And we'll take our little spoons and do that. As I said, you can chill this with the dressing even on it and it gets a little incorporated, or you could do it at the last minute, and this can be served cold from the refrigerator or even room temperature. It's equally nice. So we'll shake this up a little bit and then we'll pour some on. There you go. It's much easier to do it all at once. Now we forgot about the star fruit, which we don't want to, so you keep the end for yourself because you're the cook, and you make little slices. Now look, you see, they come just like stars.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that great? And you could make a wish. I wish we didn't start the cooking show. So there you are. And you can, I would put 3 because uneven numbers are always important. This is a good thing to know in cooking and also with flowers or any type of decorating to be aesthetically pleasing. Uneven numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, or after 7, it doesn't matter if there's 8, it's just that many. So whenever you do that, if you're arranging things, don't put 2, put 3. The same thing with flowers, the same thing with decorating a plate. If you put 3 cherry tomatoes, put 3 cherry tomatoes, but you wouldn't because we already have them in there. So there you have it, and there you go. And we're going to actually give it to Carlos, who's so patiently and happily sitting there waiting to receive it. Here you are. Enjoy. Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to show you something that's going to be invaluable for you. Thank you, Nico. And this is the simplest of all possible dipping sauces for Italian bread. I discovered it after trying many different things. So you get your loaf of Italian bread and you get your bread knife, which is just a serrated knife. And you know how to cut bread with great enthusiasm, like this. Get some pieces here, just to get the idea. When you have a loaf of bread like this, it's best to cut it all at once, and then whatever is left over, put in a plastic bag, because the next day you'll be able to maybe even eat it without toasting it. You certainly could toast it, but if you leave it, even if you cover the edge, it gets like a rock and there's nothing you can do with it. It's good for keeping doors open, but other than that, I don't know what you could do with it. I suppose you could cut it up and make breadcrumbs, but you'd have to talk to someone else about that, all right? But anyway, do that. You can get yourself a nice little bowl to put your bread in. And if you'd bring me the blue dish and the other dish, I'll show them what to do. Yes, right there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Bring the whole thing over. Okay, this is 2. And then right there next to it is another dish. There, the raised one. All right, there you go. So this is so simple, they're gonna think you're so wonderful. This is called Montreal steak seasoning. It's excellent on lamb chops, on any kind of beef. After you marinate or to do whatever you're doing, before you marinate it, press this into the skin very lightly. It's a little strong, it's just lovely, it gives a crunch to everything. So if you want to make some dipping for your bread, okay, you can just take some olive oil and a little ramekin like this or any kind of a vessel. You could even use something like this if you wanted, which may be better for you to see what's going on. So let's change our plan here. Put a little oil in there, as much as you think someone might need. You put a nice little amount of this in there, 3 little shakes depending on your taste. And then you would like to take some rosemary, which we have here, which is fresh. You pull it down the stem and you end up with little rosemary leaves. There you go. So I'd say there's probably 10 of the little leaves there. And again, you want to do your rocking motion. The crumbs from the bread are here, but it doesn't matter. You're in your own kitchen. Nobody's watching you, and too bad. All right, when you think they're small enough, you put them in here, and you can stir it up. There you go, and you have some lovely dipping sauce. So plating is important, and there you go. So let's see how this would look. If we take this away, okay. And let's just see these together on our table. We'll stop for a minute and then we'll reset. Hi, I just wanted to serve this to my people here that are working with me, and as I did, the glass started sliding all around on the dish. So how do you prevent that from happening? Well, you take a paper towel and rip a little piece off, and then rip that in half, and then see what size the bottom of the glass is and keep ripping until you get to about the bottom. Or you could cut with a scissor and measure if you wish. However, you can wet it and place it here, and then you put your little dish there and look, it stays in place. Isn't that great? All right. No extra for the tip. I have a little tip for you. That's a very good thing that I discovered quite by accident. I noticed whenever I was cooking an onion or an apple, people would come into the house and say, "Oh, it smells so good." So this is what you can do whenever you're using your oven. As the oven heats, use this secret aroma producing combination, and when your guests come, they'll be so excited to find out what it is you're cooking. Now, before I show you what it is, let me tell you what else you can do. If you're heating your oven to cook something, obviously it'll produce its own aroma. Smell is a very important sense for taste, of course. So what I'm going to show you, you can do if you're using the oven and cooking something else that always smells nice. If you're not cooking something, but are heating something up, and you have to get the oven hot anyway, do this and it'll smell like you cooked something. Okay? And also, if it just happens to be snowing, you're not cooking anything, you just might want to pop this in the oven for 20 minutes just to give your house a nice feeling. So sometimes with scraps, we can do wonderful things. Waste not, want not. Isn't that an expression? Yes. If not, I coined it. So here we go. Take an oven-proof dish, any type, like this, and take your aluminum foil, or I hope we begin a new habit, aluminum foil. Obviously, this piece is too big. This is called a waste. However, we put this in here, and you make yourself a nice little boat. Okay, there you go. You with me so far? Not hard. Now, if you have a piece of onion left, like the two ends of an onion that you cut up, you can save them, and why throw them out? So here is a piece of onion end that I did not use. So obviously, this part of the onion is still fine. I will keep it. But what am I supposed to do with this? Use it for your secret. You put it in this. Then you can take an apple. Yes, it's worth sacrificing an apple for happy guests. Cut it in half or quarters, or make 3 uneven pieces, and you put it in here. The next thing you do is take Chinese 5-spice, which is most excellent. It smells fantastic. Very nice. And you just put it on your apple. If you don't have that, you can use cinnamon. If you don't have cinnamon, you can use nutmeg, or you can use a combination of all 3. Again, you're at home, do whatever you want. Then you take garlic. You know, this is the garlic bulb, and you take off one of the little, what do you call this thing? It's a clove. It's a clove. In English, we say clove. Take your knife and you smash it like that. You've seen them do this on TV, and it doesn't work the first time, you hit it again. Good. Then you have to peel the garlic like that. There's probably a better way to do it, but this is the best I can do. And there you go. You don't even have to peel it too much, just make sure it's crushed, and put it in this dish, which is very unappetizing, but believe me, it's going to be worth it. And then take a sprig of rosemary if you have it. You could use dry as well, and just break it up a little bit like that. And then you might take a little basil if you have it, and you just might want to rip it up, stick it in there. Again, you can use dry spice because that's what I'm going to use here, with a little thyme, just a little handful. And then you take just a drop of water, this much for those who want to measure, and you pour it in here. Whatever temperature your oven's at, say it's at 350, you just put this mess in there, and in 10 or 15 minutes, it'll just smell fantastic in your house. What do you do when you take it out of the oven? Well, it's very simple. You just roll it up like this, and you throw it out, and that's the end of that. Now, I'm going to actually roll this up and save it, because there's nothing in here that's perishable. And if the apple turns brown, so what? Nobody's going to see it. It won't get bad, it'll just be in here. And the next time I cook a real meal, I will put this in the oven half an hour before I have to put my real food in, and the house will smell fantastic. And there's no cleaning of this at all, and that's a great tip for you, so try it out.